So I just finished Alan Wake 2 and I'm really confused. So originally I was going to do this video in my Alan Wake cosplay that I was wearing during my finale stream of Alan Wake 2, but I couldn't sit in 3 layers any longer. I'm hungry, I'm tired, and frankly this chair is starting to get very uncomfortable to sit in. So I'm... oh god. I don't even know where to begin. I don't even have a script. I don't have bullet points for this. I'm just winging it, okay? So Alan Wake 2 has been a game I started in late January and just finished it. Yes, there was a hiatus in between, like a very small hiatus. I actually came out of my hiatus to finish this game because I was so much intrigued by the story that it broke me out of my hiatus to finish it. And granted, this is before I've played Final Cut. I wanted to get my thoughts out about the first part of the storyline before I went into playing Final Cut, just to kind of see where my thoughts were then and then where my thoughts are after I play Final Cut and Final Draft, not Final Cut, and see where my thoughts are after that, after more things have been fleshed out. Welcome back to another Gray's Gaming Diary, Alan Wake 2 edition. So if we're looking in comparison to Alan Wake 1 to Alan Wake 2, like there is definitely a sheer glow up that happened. Alan Wake 1, as the way I kind of frame it to people who aren't necessarily familiar with the franchise, is that it was Remedy's and Sam Lake's primarily, like one of his first games that he created, so of course the combat's a little clunky, of course the controls are clunky, of course the PC port is not that great, because when are PC ports better than any console version ever? PC people just can't have nice things when it's a port from something that's a console's thing. Alan Wake 1 was definitely the start of it all. Like, we would not have Quantum Break, we would not have Control, and we would definitely not have Alan Wake 2 if it wasn't for the beginning of Alan Wake. And like when you play the other games that aren't necessarily Alan Wake themed, but you play the rest of them, they all kind of have things relating to each other, which is why like I really like the series, the Remedyverse as we've coined it, and seeing how bits of Control and the references to Control are in Alan Wake 2, which is actually what made me play it originally, was because there were so many references to Control in Alan Wake 2 as my friend was playing it. She was sending me different clips of like, oh hey, here's FBC mentioned here, here's the oldest house, here's an AWE mention. And I'm like, oh my god, like I really should play this game. And I'm not a huge survival horror fan. I am now proud to say that I've played 3 horror games in my tenure on Twitch, but it didn't really feel all that horror-y for me. To be fair, there are definitely like more horror sections, like there's the jump scares, the little goblins that like spook you real good, but it didn't feel like a horror game, to me at least. And maybe that was because I was really invested in the story parts of it and the different puzzle mechanics that make it not feel like a horror game. Or at least like there's those break in tension to help ease it a little bit so it doesn't feel like tension, tension, tension all the time, which is nice. If we're gonna get into the details of the story, I'm not gonna give a full plot recap. I plan to do a Gray Poorly Explains video of Alan Wake 2 prior to doing the final draft to kind of explain the plot. I can't deny it, the story is really, really well done. There's definitely issues that I faced with the flashlight battery being so finicky on where exactly you need to be hitting the Taken in order for it to have any effect, which bugs me so fucking much. I've wasted so many slices of battery on that. I heard it's much better on console because PC can't have nice things apparently, which is frustrating because like you would hope that it would be like pretty decent on PC too, but like I said, PC just can't have nice things, I guess. And some of the combat sections were like a little like convoluted on like what they were asking for, like the battle on the beach with the old gods of Asgard and the FBC/Casey helping you. Like I was so confused on what the fuck I was supposed to be doing. Like I had to ask my Twitch chat like, hey, I lured him into the cage, why is nothing happening? And my mod was like, hey, remember those light arrays at the police station? Yeah, you're gonna want to do something similar to that here. And I was like, oh, the game didn't make that clear. Or at least clear to me. Sometimes things do go over my head. But it was just a little bit confusing on like what it was asking me to do. And I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I am very proud that I made it out of that unscathed. Yet my PC definitely did not like any of that sequence. But I'm very much left baffled by the ending. Like I'm still trying to gather my thoughts as I sit here post-stream trying to figure out like what exactly happened. Alice is currently in the real world, but she may have gone back into the dark place. Who the fuck knows? But she was on the outside trying to help Alan, and now Alan is awake and alive, saying it's not a loop, it's a spiral, which I kind of knew that going into the game, that was like the thing. It's not like it's an ocean. Ooh. It's not a loop, it's a spiral. Ooh. I think my friend said, like, is it a spiral out or is it a spiral in? Like up. Spiral down or a spiral up. I can't sit here and deny that the game is bad. It is not bad. It deserves every single award that it won across all of the different award shows. Honestly, at this point, it should have won Game of the Year at one of the game shows. Not to say that Baldur's Gate didn't deserve it, but I think like Alan Wake 2 it is literally a full package, and the fact that like there's still 2 DLCs coming. There is a final draft version, which is New Game Plus. There's going to be a photo mode. Like, not to say that Larian didn't build out Baldur's Gate after its release. I feel like Alan Wake 2 deserves to have some big recognition of Game of the Year, because it is fantastic. Like, the graphics were great. Even if my PC couldn't handle it necessarily on stream, the graphics were fantastic. So that's why I look forward to playing Final Draft off stream, because I'm actually going to be able to use good graphics and not sacrifice stream quality to witness it and see Saga spin around in high definition. But the story is really well done. The inventory system is a little bit confusing, especially if you're comparing it to like Alan Wake 1 or Control or Quantum Break. Like, the inventory system is a little difficult to manage at times, but like once you get the hang of it, you're kind of good on it. I did like the collectible aspect of the cult stashes and the nursery rhymes. I haven't gone and done all of them, but I do plan on it in my final draft run of the game to go and do all the collectibles, try to get as many achievements as I can, because I always try to do that whenever I am able to. So overall, it just makes for a really, really well and cohesive game. The questions that I have are more so related to like the plot and the theories of like what's gonna happen, but like I'm curious to see what Final Cut is gonna say, because I'll be honest with you, I didn't know I was gonna play this until probably after my 2 friends have already finished the game, and I kind of looked in on their post-game thoughts and comments. Granted, this was months ago, and it was about like 2-ish months before I started playing Alan Wake 2, so like a lot of that was like forgotten on me, but like I remembered things. So I remember that Nightingale was the first boss. I remember that I would have to face Thornton and Mulligan. I remembered that Cynthia Weaver was going to be around. I knew that the ending phrase was, it's not a loop, it's a spiral, because like everyone on Alan Wake Twitter was saying it. And of course, like, I didn't think when the game came out I was going to be playing it, so some of that stuff got spoiled for me. Though, when Final Draft was announced, and at that point I knew I was going to play Alan Wake 2, I just wanted to play the first game first. I tried my best to avoid spoilers for anything related to Final Draft, because I knew I was going to play it, and I didn't want to have spoilers to it. I probably had a very lackluster ending face, because one, my stream kept crashing. Of course, it was always during the lore heavy moments when it crashed, because Twitch gods said that no one was allowed to know the ending of this game, apparently. And 2, I already had something spoiled for me, so like it didn't hit as hard as maybe for other people who were going into it without knowing anything, which is why I'm hoping that in Final Draft I'll have more of that similar experience. See, this is what happens when I go off script. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. It definitely is a great game. I'm not sure if it's one of my favorite games ever, and granted, this is before I've played Final Draft. It's still a really, really good game. If you haven't played it yet, I highly recommend it. You don't necessarily need to play Alan Wake 1 to understand it. You probably might want to play Control to understand a little bit on what's happening. I like how they're making parallels between their different games within the Remedy universe. Quantum Break, not so much, because Microsoft still owns Quantum Break. Hashtag Microsoft, please give Quantum Break back to Remedy. They deserve it, please, and thank you. And also, like, I didn't really listen to any of the end chapter music, because I'm like, all right, I'm streaming, we gotta go. Like, I will do music analysis later. So I do intend on listening to those during my next playthrough and actually being like, oh, so this makes sense now, wow. But Old Gods of Asgard / Poets of the Fall, fantastic, great choice. I'm excited to listen to the full tracks of all those songs to see how they fit into anything. I'm actually kind of sad I didn't get to listen to Ocean of Summoning, or whatever the song title was at the end of the game, on the beach, because I was too busy taking out bad guys and listening to where the bad guys were. I was actually wanting to listen to the lyrics and be like, oh, like, what are they talking about? They're trying to summon Alan Wake, so like, what are they talking about? And I'm like, bam, bam, like shotguns everywhere. That whole ending sequence was really, really interesting, about like how Saga was pulled under, and the mind place, like, as like just generally speaking, was such a cool concept. And I love that Saga is related to Tor and Odin. Like, that's also really cool, like how they're making all these connections, and that Alex Casey was a fictional character that was brought alive by Alan Wake or some shit, I don't really know. But I love how it all interconnected in a way, and I'm excited to do a poorly explained video, which really isn't going to be poorly explained because I'm pretty sure I'm going to remember the plot pretty well, but who the fuck knows? And I'm excited to play Final Draft at some point when I'm not playing Dead by Daylight. Expect a video on that sometime soon. But I'm excited now knowing that Control 2 is coming, and they kept making reference to something happening at Federal Bureau of Control, the oldest house. Like, I now need to know what happened at the oldest house. Like, is Jesse okay? Did we get Darling back? Because we did see on the TV screens a couple times, like, Darling and Jesse. So, like, are they fucking around in thresholds? Is Jesse trying to find Darling in a threshold, and, like, they keep finding each other on the wrong channels? And now we know what's behind the spiral door. The spiral door is the writer's room, which is really, really cool because you see those doors in Control. Like, Jesse always goes to the inverted pyramid door because that is the symbol for the Bureau. And then now knowing that the spiral has the writer's room behind it, it makes me wonder, like, what other thresholds are behind those other doors, and where the fuck is Darling? I want to know. And I know I'm forgetting Thomas Zane, and that, like, there's certain characters that always confuse Alan with Thomas Zane, so, like, I'm wondering, like, are they one and the same? Much like how Scratch and Alan is one and the same, and Scratch is more of just, like, the physical embodiment of the dark presence, which, by the way, he just looks fantastic. Like, Scratch, step on me, please? But it's so interesting and so intricate, and I really would love to pick Sam's brain but he'll never tell me anything. I'm so excited to see where the story is going to go, because I fully believe that Alan Wake is going to be a trilogy, and that at the end of this trilogy, Alan is going to finally get out, but, like, something's not going to be the same anymore. I liked the idea that they had two different protagonists, and that you played them at different times, and you had two different mechanics for each of them. The mechanics that they gave for both of them were really, really interesting. Like, Alan had the angel lamp, which was Thomas Zane's. He had the lamp, and it allowed him, depending on the light source, be able to alter the reality around him, or technically the room that he was in, which was really interesting. Then Saga had her mind place, which is, like, her way of, like, sorting through evidence and all that cool stuff, which I thought was really intriguing, and I loved how they work that in. So fucking cool. It reminds me of Connor from Detroit Become Human, how he has his mind palace of the garden, even though he's not, like, sorting out things in there, but technically you could say he is. It's just so cool, and, like, the way they delivered it was really well done. The graffiti and the art style of New York City was just absolutely beautiful. Like, I would hang that on my wall as a poster, honestly. Like, it's so well done. And when I showed my friend who's a graphic designer, like, images of New York City with the graffiti on it, and, like, saying, like, oh, so, like, this is relating to the game this way, and this is how and why, he was like, oh, that's really cool. And it actually, I think I convinced him to play the game just because of the art alone, because I know he loves looking at environments in video games and just analyzing them and seeing what he can pull from for his own inspiration. I guess takeaway is essentially, like, it's a really well done game. I'm kind of a little frustrated about some aspects of the gameplay itself, especially with the flashlight, and I guess I'm more frustrated that my Twitch kept dying on me midstream while trying to finish the game. But I'm interested to see where it's gonna go with the final draft. Like, I'm curious to see, like, what the changes are going to be, and how are they going to incorporate those changes in a way that doesn't feel jarring. I'm looking forward to it. Don't know when I'm going to end up playing all of it. I might just binge it the 1 week where I'm off work. I purposely took off work for a whole week to just rest and relax and stream some more, but that might be a week where I just play nothing but Baldur's Gate 3, Alan Wake, and Dead by Daylight, and maybe some Overwatch thrown in there. Gaming diary completed. Those are my current thoughts right now. I think I just need to sit on it. I'm not entirely sure how to feel. I feel a little bit lackluster. I feel like there was a lot of hype generated for it, and then, like, when I don't feel like it lives up to that hype that it was set to in my brain, then I get disappointed, so I really need to stop letting that happen. But regardless if it didn't meet my expectations or whatever, it's still a fantastically done game. Remedy and Sam Lake and everyone who worked on it deserve all of the praise, everything that they received. Ilka and Matthew as Alan, both physical embodiment and voice, did a fantastic job. The man's just so sad, and I want to give him a hug, because he just deserves a fucking hug, and maybe a towel, because he's very damp. And then Melanie did fantastic as Saga. She really portrayed the character really well, and also, like, can we mention that, like, we don't often see Black women as protagonists in video games often, or at least not in like bigger games such as Alan Wake 2, so it's really nice to see that we're getting more representation in video games, which is really, really cool, and I hope people take notice of this, and I hope Melanie gets amazing other roles because she definitely deserves it. And again, I'm just scratching the surface with my thoughts. I can always do a deeper dive later, especially after I write a fucking script. I am hungry. I think my oven's gonna start yelling at me soon, so let me know your thoughts on the game. What burning question did you have when you finished the first playthrough of Alan Wake 2. I'm incredibly curious. The Herald of Darkness music video still lives rent-free in my brain. Not as hyped as I thought it was gonna be, but I might just need another playthrough of seeing it to really get it and get into it. But like, again, I can't deny it's so well done, and I'm so glad they did it at the Game Awards because that was just amazing on all levels. But with that, that has been Gray's Gaming Diary on Alan Wake 2 after an initial playthrough. I look forward to playing it a second time, to hopefully get all the achievements because I'm very close to it, and to see what the changes are. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and I will see you in the next video. My name is Aaron Gray, queer variety Twitch streamer, signing off.